Did you see how Thomas went out yesterday? Like, did you see it? He's like, shoot around. Oh, you had us. Oh my gosh. They called Jayhawk.
Well, you told me what happened. I didn't see how.
And he said he jumped and landed?
Man would say it right now.
He just failed. He didn't even jump.
Like he put his foot, he put his foot down.
He landed and he just twisted it.
And then he just sat down and was quiet.
No, E-Man's face, bro.
From bad to worse though. He wasn't like him. He had the tape. He was left up before he got the tape. That's all. That's not something.
I had him for a second.
Y'all kept looking at him every time Jay was school.
Huh?
It's cool. Let me see real quick.
I know. I was like, he like, what, 4:30? I ain't even. Never again. I ain't even doing that.
You said he was there for a minute. He gone?
Yeah.
Hey, coach. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Focus TV. We're joined tonight by members of the Eleanor Roosevelt varsity basketball program. After that, we got some other things to talk about. But first, it's a full house in studio. Let's get started introducing everybody. We got Coach Bryan Hogg. We got Quinton Mincey, Lumi Lewis, Jahari Simon, Joemel McNair, Emmanuel Brooks, and I know I butchered your name.
No, you got it right.
I did? Yeah, all right. I was worried. I heard the laugh. I thought I butchered it. I was really worried. All right. But just want to talk to you guys. This is the first question I have for you guys. After coming off a championship last season, what was that initial feeling like? And then how soon kind of was it over in terms of trying to get ready to get another one? Like, when did that hunger kind of take over where I want another one of these? And anybody can answer. It's fine. Just when you do answer, just step up into the mic a little bit. That's all.
That's right.
I mean, it felt great because it was like all season. That's the only thing that we was worried about. That's the only thing that we wanted to get. So, but it lasted a long time, like the whole year. That's the only thing that was talked about was the ring. But we really started to get one. Wanted to get one around ever since it ended, we wanted to two-peat. We'll be the first team in Rose history to two-peat. So.
Anybody else? Or he summed it up?
I thought they worked really hard last year. That was the main goal, to get a state championship. And then I thought the juniors and the underclassmen got back in the gym, I would say around March. No, I'm sorry, not March, but about April. And they really started putting the work in, and they really worked hard on all season in the summertime. So, it was a goal for them.
All right. Carter, you want to jump in?
This more so for Coach. When you first came on board, what were the challenges in building a winning culture and maintaining that winning culture throughout the years?
So I came on 13 years ago. I was with O'Connor when he first started.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it was a winning culture when I got there. Like they worked pretty good when we got there. I think just to uphold it is like we really get the kids to buy into what we're trying to preach to them. And basically, it's we over me. Everybody's held to the same standard. There is no, one person gets away with something. If the senior does something wrong, he gets the same punishment as a freshman. So, and getting the kids to buy into that was the biggest thing. And then we also are gifted with talented players that we just, we work with what we get.
My question is mainly for the guys. I was kind of just enjoying you guys listening to y'all talk before we went on air. The conversation wasn't typical, of kids your age, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. You guys sound like you're real students of the game. You're in tune with what's going on mentally. Most kids honestly just get out there and play. Where did that come from? Like, how did you start to think about the game from the neck up? Just anybody.
Well, really, that's just the way you get an edge up on a lot of people. The more IQ you have, the easier the game is for you, and it slows down the game mentally for you, really. So it's always a good key to have.
You feel like that, like in those situations where you guys maybe are in a tight game and the other team's really not in tune mentally, you think that helps you guys get over the hump a little bit?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
Anything that stands out in the mental aspect of the game over your championship season?
That's not, yeah.
We were tested mentally not by like our opponents, but by the coaches most of all season. Like they would challenge us in practice and stuff, like give us little goals. Like we set little goals, like 3 charges a game, 3 kills, limit teams to like 10 rebounds, like just little stuff like that. Like we would challenge ourselves, and the coaches would challenge us more so than the opponent.
All right, this is for all of y'all. Most teams, they talk defense, but when you see them play, you can realize it's just all talk. But with you guys, it's an emphasis. Do y'all feel that's what separates y'all from all the other programs?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what separates us. Cause like throughout practice, we go over offense, but we make sure like defense is what wins us games. Like coach preaches defense all the time. Every day in practice, we go over like majority of our practice is defense. Like that's all we work on. So I feel like that's what separates us the most.
Okay. And that's it. Nobody want to answer. You don't want to answer. You the best. You can do
It's definitely a pride thing with us, and for me too. But we emphasize defense all the time, and like he said we set goals for ourselves and on the defensive side. So yeah. And if we're not playing defense well, then they'll make us pay for it. So we definitely challenge each other. So it's a pride thing, and we make it happen too. So.
All right, Coach. Y'all have a lot of versatile players on this team. But how do y'all as a staff keep everybody, committed to their roles? Because everybody want the ball, do what they think. But how do you keep them committed to what you ask them to do?
I just think the kids believe what we're telling them, and we put them in the right situation to be successful. Mm-hmm. Like all of our kids, like they all can step out, hit threes, but that might not be what's working for us at that time. So I just think they believe in what we're preaching. Our history speaks for itself, and they buy into it.
Okay.
Another question for the guys, and Coach, you could jump in as well. When I was in high school, my coach used to tell us, you prepare for war in times of peace. So that means in practice, you're going hard, you're not taking days off. What those scrimmages be like, man? Y'all be going at each other, or what it look like behind closed doors for y'all?
They look bad because we all be tired and we all be fighting. so it's like scrimmage is definitely hard when we scrimmage at each other in practice. So like in a game, when we going through a stretch where there's no whistles, like we definitely prepared. Like practice today, like we went through a stretch where there was no whistles being blown, and we was just running. I'm calling like, fight through it. So it's definitely they definitely are.
Yeah, I really feel like the practices are always harder than the game. For real, that's how we practice. I like it.
I think we have a bunch of younger guys that really push. The younger guys want to play. So we like we say, if you prove in practice, then you'll get your chance to perform in the game. So they really push the guys that's soaking up a lot of the minutes. So they really can't have days off in practice. And I just think that makes us better overall as a team.
Any team that has long-term success no matter the sport, either short-term success as well. There's a standard every program plays to. So I guess for anybody who wants to answer, how would you guys describe like the Roosevelt standard?
I think it's being a student first. Like, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do in school, you won't play. Like, so I feel like with that, like, if you're doing what you're supposed to do in school, like, I feel like with that makes us a better team because it makes everybody want to hold themselves to a certain standard in the school, and it separates us from everybody else, and it's always like keeping us mentally prepared.
Yeah, that's true.
What's been the toughest hurdle so far in the campaign to repeat?
I would say, getting everybody's best shot. Because everybody, to everybody in the county, we're the biggest game for them. So we really don't get any nights off. Whether we're playing the second best team in the league or who has the worst record, like everybody's gonna come for us. So I feel like that's probably one of the biggest hurdles.
All right, Lumi, I'm a fan of your game because you kind of a throwback point guard, especially in today, all the point guards want to shoot step back threes and all that. You kind of cater more towards what the team needs to win, and you lead with defense. But at the same time, you're not afraid to take the tough shot, the clutch shot late in the games. Do you feel you're overlooked because of your style of play?
I feel like my time will come, but and I don't let like none of the publicity and all that thing, all of the other things phase me. I'm a team first player, so like I'm worried about what my team is needing to, like, I'm just focused on my team and what they need and what I can bring to my team to help us make this two-piece. So I don't feel like I'm overlooked, but I just feel like my time will come, man. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep doing what I need to do.
I got you.
Yeah, and thank you though.
Quinton, is known. You're the Swiss Army knife player for the team, kind of the X factor because you can do so many things on the floor, and it's hard for opponents to game plan for you. Do you feel the same? What's your mentality coming into each and every game?
I just want to do what I can to help my team win. Like, I'm really not a stats guy, so I really don't care. So if I can get a game-winning block, game-winning dunk, game-winning shot, just whatever, I really don't care. I just want to do whatever it takes to win.
So what players did you model your game after? Because you are that type of rangy defender. You can just kind of do everything. So who'd you look up to kind of get your game to where it is?
It's a couple guys. Like, Giannis, that's my favorite player right now, by far. DeMar DeRozan. Because he's not really a guy. Because I feel like my game's kind of like his. He's not really a guy that's like a shooter, but he can score in different ways. Definitely Kobe, a little mid-range. I shoot a lot of those. It's a lot of guys that take pieces, bits and pieces from everybody. A couple high school guys before me. Like that.
All right, Joemel, you transferred in from Pilati.
Right.
You kind of emerged as the efficient all-around player for the team. But talk about how playing for this program has helped elevate your game overall.
Really, it just made me raise my level in a lot of other things. At Pilati, I wasn't more so of a full-rounded player. I say I did shoot a lot of threes and all that. And my rebounding, I wasn't rebounding and all that. I still try to do my little defensive thing, but here I feel like every other aspect of my game had to be heightened to that what we needed as a team to win. So that's really what it brought out of me.
Okay.
And that was actually a perfect segue. I had a question with you guys being a public program, but really honestly one of the best teams in the state. Do you feel like you get the recognition you deserve? Because a lot of hype is around, the private schools, and those teams are good as well. But you guys need to be talked about. Do y'all even take that into consideration, or is it just white noise?
I mean, we don't really pay attention to it much. We just play our game, and whatever comes. Basically, that's what happens. Yeah, we don't focus on all the attention and publicity. Just play our game.
All right, Jahari. You're a guy that sprays the floor. I heard him joking earlier about how you don't hesitate to pull the corner three, elbow three. Man, you make your impact defensively. Break down the importance of what you guys bring as far as depth to the team.
My defense, I could do defense and stuff. So just I I could spread the floor and stuff, so it'd make it more easier for like Lumi or Q to get to the rim. Yeah.
With me, like my biggest thing is just being aggressive. Like I just love getting down there, getting rebounds, like just making sure I impact the game in other ways. Cause I mean, like I don't get that many offensive opportunities, so I make sure I impact the game with my rebound and like boxing out, doing the little things, make sure I get on the floor.
Okay, and this is more so for Coach, but if y'all want to jump in, please do. The live period situation for Maryland Public Schools, will it be different this year? What are your thoughts on the lack of opportunities afforded to public schools that, possibly play teams they normally won't get a chance to play in front of majority major college coaches, and public schools losing out on that opportunity?
I thought it was a little bit of a blow last year. I don't really think it had that much of an impact as people made it seem like. But I'm hearing in the future that it won't be your school team, but they're going to put together a elite team from PG County to participate versus other schools. So that's in the works as we're speaking right now. They're working on that.
What you went up and participated in the Gym Couch event, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like?
It was fun. Like we just got a chance to. That was our first event as a team.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a camp out there. We all worked out and all that. It was a good little bonding time, and just to see what the culture was about in New York, and in the games it was a lot of noise and competition. So it was a good environment for us to play in, and it was good preparation for our season. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, my last question is, what will it take to win county, the region, and eventually the state championship for all y'all?
One game at a time.
One game at a time?
Yeah.
You're gonna take all of us, whole team, stay together, keep grinding together, and yeah.
And staying locked in on the little things.
Okay.
Yeah, one game at a time.
I got nothing else, man. Just good luck to you guys on the rest of the season.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for spending some time with us tonight. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
All right, thank you.
We're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, man, we're gonna talk some go-go, some college basketball.
How many people was there?
You being petty already. We'll get in this a little bit later. You watching the
You
football
almost set me up. I'm not.
I wasn't gonna let you
I'm
answer.
falling for
See how she do. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, so again, we want to thank the players and Coach Hogg from Eleanor Roosevelt High School for coming in tonight to talk with us about last year's championship run and their goal of trying to go ahead and go back-to-back this year. But up next, Ray, what's been going on with the Go-Go?
The Go-Go. They're on the road tonight playing Erie. They're up 98-88, about 9 minutes left in the fourth. They just played the Bayhawks the other night. They completely demolished them, 133 to 106. It was their biggest win of the season. Also, their highest scoring output of the season. It's good to see them put together a game on the road. They are currently 3-12. They're a completely different team at home. They're 13-5 here. And that's something Coach Richmond emphasizes a lot, like their two identities, how they're such a different team on the road than home. And just watching the games, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. They just honestly look like a completely different team. At home, they seem more energetic, especially on the defensive end. Their shooting is better. Like, I don't know what they got to do to get their game to travel, but obviously they're doing well tonight, especially coming off of such a big win against the same team. Just looking at the last game, it wasn't their usual way of winning. Like, typically when they win a game and win it comfortably, they're hitting a lot from the outside. The last game, they just completely dominated the Bayhawks on the inside. They had Andrzej Pasekniks called down from the Wizards, big 7'1" guy, so he kind of cleaned stuff up on the boards and scored a lot on the inside. Had some second chance points. They also had Gary Payton II. He, just kind of controlled the game and did what he does. He had 16, 11, and 5. So they had some additional firepower, which led to the big win. But the game honestly was close until they went on a 24-0 run in the third quarter. Like, they stringed together 12 consecutive stops and scored on each one. So and that was pretty much curtains for that. They're still up 10. 8 minutes left now. Hopefully they can close this one out. They have had problems early in the year maintaining leads in the fourth quarter. They've lost games when they've been up by double digits in the fourth quarter before. So hopefully they learn from those mistakes and they can bring home a win.
All right, Cardell, moving on to college basketball. Start with GW men's and women's.
I'm going to start with the men's side.
Okay.
Just to put it simply, they were dominated by Rhode Island, who's in a tough contest against conference leading Dayton. From start to finish, they failed. GW failed to Rhode Island 82-51. Fats Russell, who I think will be an All-American, definitely first team All-Conference in the A-10, pacing rounds with 24 points. Cyril Langevin had a double-double with 11 points and 13 rebounds, and local product out of St. John's, Jeff Dowden, had 14.6 rebounds and 3 steals. Russell was averaging the conference best 20.3 points per game, with 20 points or more in 5 of his past 6 games before, obviously, tonight's contest against Dayton. GW was led by freshman guard Sean Walker, 14 points and 5 assists. It was his best game so far during his freshman campaign. Fellow freshman Jameer Nelson Jr. posted 11 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists, and fellow freshman forward Chase Park added 10 points and 8 rebounds. Rhode Island shot lights out as a team, bottom line, and Fats Russell, he set that tone. He started off 3 for 3 from deep, and that kind of opened the floodgates, seeing the confidence just going. And as a team, they shot 51.8% from the field, 42.9% from deep. But their defense is what stood out to me, and individually and as a team. They suffocated GW. GW couldn't get nothing going. They held GW to 29.1% shooting from the field and 8.7% from 3. At one point, at the end of the game, I'll get to the end of the game, the Rams held the Colonials' top 3 active leading scorers. Potter is out. He's leading the team with 14 points a game, but he's out with a hip injury. Their 3 leading active scorers, Jameson Battle, Maceo Jack, and Nelson Jr., held them to a combined 5 of 30 shooting. Battle, who leads the team in 3-point shooting at 38%, shot 1 of 11 from the field, 1 of 9 from deep. That just tells you how much they strapped them up. And, they just physically dominated them. And then GW just didn't respond well. And Fats Russell, once he made those 3 threes and they had to take away his airspace, then you had his mercy because he's so quick and fast. It's hard for guys. I mean, he was literally going around them like they were just being introduced to playing basketball. Like, it was no counter, like, let me slide and counter. He was just going around them. But that's just a testament to how quick and fast he is. And he's tough, Philly tough. You know, Philly born and bred, so he getting in the lane, he taking the contact, and he's still finishing.
Right.
And, you know, that pretty much summed up the game. You know, it's a thorough performance from Rhode Island. GW fell to 10-14, and they will next face George Mason Saturday at 4:30 p.m. And on the women's side, Junior Lexi Levy knocked down game-winning free throws with 9.8 seconds left to give them a win over VCU. This was the first time Jennifer Rosati, I guess, had enough with the inconsistent players. So she went Calipari from when Townsend over there. She just subbed all 5.
Oh.
She went,
She's
5 in, 5 out.
point.
Yeah, 5 in, 5 out. And she did it every 4 to 5 minutes to keep you on your toes and be ready to play. If you ain't playing, you know you coming out. You know, simple as that. The result was 10 different Colonials. Saw between 7 and 22 minutes. And they had 9 different scores, which created balance. So it made them hard to guard, obviously. None of them reached double figures, but Levy became the 9th different Colonial to lead the team in scoring with her season-high 9 points. And Alexandra Mound, graduate student, she equaled that. Sophomore Kayla Mokwa hauled in the game best 10 rebounds, and redshirt junior Sydney Zambrata added 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, which were her career high. For the 6th time this season, GW rallied from a double-digit deficit. They're 10-13. Will face LaSalle tomorrow at 7 p.m., and you can watch it on ESPN+.
All right. For Maryland, nothing quite as eventful. I think they just won their 10th straight game. You know, they're starting to peak and figure out who they are.
Right.
You know, some teams, they start slow and gradually build. This was the case for them. I've been telling you guys all year with the updates. In this one, their defense, they came out and set the tone. I mean, the opening possession resulted almost in a shot clock violation. After that, somebody got ripped at half court. That was before they started pressing. I mean, they started the game on a 6-0 run, all fueled by defense. And that was literally, you can just rinse, wash, repeat that for the remaining 3 quarters. It was a dominant defensive performance. Kyler Charles led the way with 16 points, 8 rebounds. They won 79-50. That's the most points that Rutgers has given up this year. Rutgers, regardless of what's going on, that's a prideful defensive team. And, you know, Coach Vivian C. Stringer kind of said it best after the game. You know, sometimes it's not that much to talk about. Like, they ran into a buzzsaw. Maryland was the buzzsaw. That was literally it. On Thursday, Maryland's going to be hosting Iowa. As of right now, Maryland's in first place in the Big Ten, but Iowa's literally right behind them. And Iowa also got them earlier this year. So, they got it. Maryland has a chance for payback, and Iowa has a chance. If they're to sweep Maryland, that makes the top of the Big Ten a little bit more exciting because that would take them out of that sole possession in first place. Maryland has a chance to go ahead and, you know, make up for that loss to Iowa earlier. As Coach Freeze said following last game, you know, her team isn't the same as they were the first time they played Iowa. You can see the growth. Ashley Owusu this past game, the points were great, but what I was most impressed by, 9 assists, 1 turnover. The little things you're starting to see, you know, kind of, there are times where either her or Mixel roped on the court. Earlier this year, at times, Mixel will go ahead and dribble up court. Now it's, hey, it's your show. I give it up, and I can get it back later. Blair Watson, again, still on the defensive end. You know, they're just, as I said, they're rounding into form just a little bit. And for Kyla Charles, she was named to the Citizen Naismith Trophy Women's Player of the Year midseason list. So congrats to her for the type of year she's having. She started slow, you know, in terms of preseason and whatnot, but as the games got more important in conference play, you've seen the senior class just really step up and make their imprint over and over again during this whole, like this entire run of conference play, especially after that loss to Iowa. And, you know, as Cardell said, after what South Carolina did to UConn and what they've been doing to almost everybody this year. You know, you look at that loss at the beginning of the year a little bit differently. And obviously South Carolina's different right now and Maryland's different. You know, it should be exciting as we get closer to the end of conference play and conference tournaments around the country. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, but not before that. Jamal Hayward, 9-4-50, breakdown of a spin move and some options off said spin move. Breakdown of a spin move and options off that spin move. When we return, man, we got some good conversations for you guys. You're watching the Focus TV.
we're going to work on the spin move, and we're going to show some options off the spin move as well also. We're going to break down the spin move right now. So I'm going to take two dribbles on right. So one on the second dribble on the spin. So it's here. Now I can drop it and continue going, or I can pick it up. Now, options off the spin. One. Shot. One. Spin. Shot. Shot. Now, there's another option off the spin. One. Two. Slow it down. Then two. Shot. Those are three options off the spin move. So again, with the spin move, if you are continuing to dribble, 1, 2, keep the ball away from the defender. Keep your body in between the defender and the ball. Then drop it, then go. As opposed to 1, 2, switching it early, push it back to the defense, ball exposed to the defense, where they can poke it out. Then we're gonna work on the spin move. And we're going to show some options off the spin move as well also. We're going to break down the spin move right now. So I'm going to take two dribbles on right. So one on the second dribble on the spin. So it's here. Now I can drop it and continue going, or I can pick it up. Now, options off the spin. One. Shot. One. Spin. Shot. Shot. Now, there's another option of the spin. 1, 2, slow it down. Then 2, shot. Those are three options of the spin move. So again, with the spin move, if you are continuing to dribble, 1, 2, keep the ball away from the defender. Keep your body in between the defender and the ball. Then drop it, then go. As opposed to 1, 2, switching it early, push it back to the defense, ball exposed to the defense, where they can poke it out.
Good evening. Welcome back to the Focus once again. Again, shout out to Jamal Haywood again for his consistency with knocking out the 9-4-50 each and every week. Hope you guys are taking something out of it. Definitely enjoy watching it. All right, so before we really get started, Octavia, you know that whole new football league.
Yeah, it happened
started.
again.
I'm sure you heard about it.
Yeah.
XFL Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2. That's the part that's kind of thrown me off. Everybody's talking about the first ever XFL game was played. I was like, they tried this before, y'all. But neither here nor there. Just a kind of quick overview of the XFL. Everybody knows Vince McMahon is the owner. So they're trying to reboot again. They had a pretty decent opening weekend. There were 4 games that happened this past weekend, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. Just to run through the scores, Seattle Dragons played the DC Defenders. The DC Defenders won the first game, 31-19. Los Angeles played Houston. Houston won 37-17. Tampa Bay versus New York, and New York won 23-3. And St. Louis versus Dallas, and St. Louis won 15-9. Just to give you a little bit of recap as far as your DC Defenders here. They play at Audi Field, and from what I'm hearing, it was a near sellout. So it seems like you DC fans are buying into some type of football going on in the city now. Quarterback Cardell Jones was 16 of 26, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, with 125.6 quarterback rating and 28 yards rushing. Wide receiver Eli Rogers was 6 of 6 and 73 yards, and wide receiver Rashad Ross had 2 receptions on 2 targets, 52 yards and 1 touchdown, and tight end Kari Lee, 1 reception, 1 target, 39 yards, 1 touchdown. I watched the highlights of the game. It's a little interesting. I think I kind of still gotta watch a little bit more, read into the rules a little bit, because that's the one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit. I guess I didn't pay enough attention to exactly what was happening, but they just have, they have a couple of little funky rules, and I did look up some of them. The one that kind of struck me was the point after the touchdown. They have an option of a 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point try. As far as, I saw your face. As far as after they score a touchdown. So after a touchdown, the team has the option of running a play from the 2, the 5, or the 10-yard line worth 1, 2, or 3 points respectively. The team must run an offensive play, and no kicking plays are allowed. If the defense is able to cause a turnover and return the ball to the opponent's end zone, the resulting score is equal to the number of points the offense was attempting to score, and it's a point after touchdown. So if the team scores a touchdown, they go for a 3-point after, the other team gets an interception, runs back, and they score in their end zone, then they get 3 points. So very interesting. It's going to take a lot of time to kind of figure out what's what. They have a double forward pass that you're allowed to do 2 forward passes as long as it doesn't go past the line of scrimmage. As you know, in the NFL, you can't do that. And lastly, the one rule that kind of I'm still trying to wrap my mind around is how their overtime works. So their overtime actually works how it would in NHL or MLS as far as a shootout. So overtime shall consist of 5 rounds staged in alternating single play possessions as customary in NHL shootouts or MLS penalty kicks. A round will consist of 1 offensive play per team. Each position starts at the opponent's 5-yard line, and the offensive team has 1 play to score. The team with more points after the 5 rounds is the winner. If a team has been mathematically eliminated before all rounds have been completed, the game ends immediately. If they are tied after 5 rounds, the rounds continue until one team is leading at the conclusion of a round, and that team will be the winner. For scoring purposes, each successful overtime score is worth 2 points. The defensive team cannot score. If the offensive team commits a turnover, the play is over immediately. If the defensive team commits a penalty, the offensive team will be allowed to retry from the 1-yard line. Any subsequent penalty committed by defense team or subsequent play, including the future rounds, will result in a score. And I'm not going to keep going because it's a lot. So I'm going to do some more research on the XFL. But like I said, they definitely will have games next week as well. Let's see. Next week, your New York is playing against DC. That will also be at Audi Field at 2 o'clock, and it will be on ABC. Tampa Bay will play Seattle at 5 on Fox. And on Sunday, Dallas will play Los Angeles at 3 on ABC. And St. Louis will play Houston at 6 on FS1.
Yeah, I watched a little bit. Like, I got through, maybe a couple quarters.
I just couldn't get past the fact that every 5 seconds somebody was slipping and falling.
I couldn't take... I think what ruined it, I was trying to honestly, just give it an honest try. It was the sideline interviews after everything that happened. I couldn't do it. So, Cardell, somebody missed the field goal, and the field goal kicker has to do a sideline interview. Yeah, in game, right after.
They got that from the NBA. The stupid stuff. What do you expect me to say?
I missed it.
Or somebody got an interception and put the mic in their face.
So how do you feel about that interception?
Probably happy.
Yeah, I don't ever really like that at all. Even watching the World Series this past, when they interview the managers during the game, I'm like, can they focus on the game?
But that's from the NBA. They made it. It's that's why I love when Popovich be getting at him. He's really trying to get the NBA to stop. Man, LeBron James went on the run in the quarter. How do you stop him? He just look at him like you stupid. He's like, when you figure it out, let me know. You know what I'm saying? It's just, what do you expect them to say? I'm not about to give you strategies so they know. Every team in the league know what I'm going to do in this particular situation and stuff. Obviously, great players are hard to guard. It's just stupid, man. Fans don't need that much access, man. It's just...
that to me, it comes in between the, the authenticity of the sport. They're in the midst of playing a sport, and we shouldn't take their mindset off of that in any way, shape, or form while that is happening. That's what pregame and postgame should be for. And even halftime, I can understand maybe asking halftime adjustments or stuff like that. But like you said, why would we tell you everything? But it's all for the entertainment value. That's where I was really trying to get at. It's more so for the entertainment value for the fans as opposed to the players that are actually playing the game.
Man, they need to watch YouTube when they want some more entertainment highlights. It's just too much.
I'm honestly disappointed. Like, it's not silly enough. Like, this is WWF football. Like,
they should be doing pile drivers.
Ramp it up. To be as obnoxious as you possibly can.
We need to get some ladders out there, some tables,
chairs, all that. Like, wow.
All right, man. Something that also happened this week, over 2 days into the week, WNBA free agency kicked off yesterday. And if depending on some fans are happy and some fans are hurt. Like, you're in a dark place right now, depending on what team you're a fan of. Only 12 teams, and all 12 teams ain't happy right now for 2 days. That's all I can simply say. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's still stuff that hasn't come to fruition yet. But we're going to go through some of them. As I go through them, you guys just go ahead and chime in with your thoughts. Angel McCoughtry, back, obviously. Hurt last couple years with Atlanta. Vegas.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And for the dudes that don't watch the WNBA, sorry, ladies, I got to make this comparison so they can understand how big of a move this is. It's like if Kawhi were to play with, the Spurs with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. It's that equivalent because she's basically the Kawhi of the WNBA, where her ability to defend and do everything she could do offensively is that lethal. And they're already a handful. They pushed the Mystics to the limit. Yeah. And with her now, with that three, I'm like, man, like, and that's not it. I mean, I'm gonna let you call out the other team, but man, it's real. It's real.
And to add up on to follow up with McCoughtry, like the other thing is some of the times they had issues with, they couldn't keep Liz and Asia on the floor at the same time. Like, this is a way where Angel can play so many different positions due to their versatility. Like, that's one heck of a thing where if you want to take Liz off the floor, you have Angel and Asia together. Also with Hamby, you had a big. You're like you said, it's fun. All right, so Christy Tolliver signed a 3-year deal with the LA Sparks. Little bit of that credit to Ava Wallace with her story in the Post. One of the things she was talking about, getting a quote from Mike Tebow, was that Washington wasn't able to guarantee that third year. LA was. That played a role into kind of that happening to a degree. Was they couldn't guarantee the third year because Washington has other things to retain as well. The Dream trade Brittany Sykes and Marie Gulich to Los Angeles for Kalani Brown. Cardell, please tell everybody what Colleen is doing down there in Atlanta.
She's just going big like she did a few years ago. They pushed the Mystics to the limit the year before when they lost to Stewie, And one thing that hurt the Mystics were the depth in the front court. They wore them down. And obviously Della Dawn was hurt, and Meesman wasn't here, but they wore them down. And I think she's trying to do that now, and she's trying to go even bigger because Kalani got potential.
Yes.
It's just that, will she be able to put it together? And it's a good trade for the Sparks because they need more wing scoring. You know what I'm saying? That's just, it is what it is. Atlanta Beard retired, and you need somebody to kind of fill that void. I mean, they going all in, and Chrissy coming in, that hurts, that leadership, that really hurts. And, former Terp, I'm always, have a soft spot for her, but, she a killer. It's just big shots. She cool as a fan. So if it's a close game and stuff like that, you got that on your side, that's a plus. So, yeah, and Brittany Sykes, I know she kind of last year wasn't up to speed, but, man, she can get a bucket herself. She's lethal, man. I remember, the past couple years, she would come in Capital One and just mix the Mystics up, man. It was bad. Just go to work on them. And so she's capable. If she get back to that form, which I think she will because all the tension with Chelsea and Candace, I think Candace going to have a bounce back year because she would be healthy. Man, WNBA real, man. Like, I mean, dang, dog.
That change of scenery for Brittany's going to be crazy because they haven't had anything. Well, I'm sorry. Really, they've only really had Chelsea Gray on the court to take people off the bounce like that. Now you get another person to do it. I mean, Chelsea Gray is going to be happy, like, for sure.
Yeah.
As well the other bigs on the team. Like, you got someone who just give them the ball and let them, like you said, put them in the mixer, and she's going to go get herself a bucket at the very least. All right, JJ took a 2-year max deal. Credit to her, she's very deserving of it. And it gives both her and the team some flexibility in terms of what Connecticut's able to do. Originally, it was, I think, reported as a 4-year deal. It's actually a 2-year deal. And the 2 years, I said, with the flexibility. But Connecticut, I mean, yeah, you kind of made your commitment to Jonquel like maybe 2 years ago, really fully committed when you moved someone else out. And it went to Jonquel. You're coming off a finals run. You're coming off a finals run.
And they made a big splash with trading for DB from Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then more than likely they're going to re-sign Courtney Williams. So they haven't missed a step.
You talk about a bucket getter when you talk about Sykes. DeWanna Bonner's a whole problem.
It ain't even just the bucket, man. It's just that the defensive potential.
The size you got.
With her and Alyssa and JJ up front, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where the Mystics had the advantage. They don't really have that advantage no more with Meesman there. And I'm still trying to. Powers might be the 3 now, or you know, I mean, but Bonner's all 6'4", 6'5",
Yep.
man. That's the center size out there. So she's kind of like the KD of the WNBA.
Yeah, she is.
Maybe not as great of a shooter, but her game and all, man, like I said, it done got real, man. It's just, I came in there, I'm like, man, the Mystics are comfortable. They might repeat, man. It might be cool. As long as they stay healthy. Now I'm like,
It got real quick.
Yeah, me and Wilson was talking before the show, like, the window not closed, but
they going to earn it.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's competition.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I love it.
I don't even think it got smaller. Just more heads in the window now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, the picture's not as clear. That's all.
Okay.
You know,
I like
just-
that
just
analogy.
a couple more people looking back at you.
It's getting crowded. It's getting crowded.
Like, where y'all come from?
And then no one's talking about Seattle. Stewie's back. And
Not only that, her bestie's back.
Tuck.
She got one of her road dogs, Morgan Tuck.
Yeah.
And
So-
I can't believe I just had her name in my head for play for the Storm. You know what I'm talking about. All first team.
Natasha Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, another year that
And Sue
development.
Bird's back. She's healthy.
I was gonna say, what about Sue?
And Sue's back after a year where Jordan Canada showed out last year. She
How
took
about
a
her?
big step last year.
It's real.
Like,
it's just
That's a Connecticut Storm over there. It's real. There's a whole lot of them over there. Like a whole lot. All right, for the New York Liberty, who's expected to have number 1 pick, a.k.a. Sabrina Ionescu. According to almost everybody, we'll see what actually ends up happening. But Lysha Clarendon signed a fully protected 2-year deal with the Liberty. Nothing wrong with getting a quality vet. Dallas re-signed Mariah Jefferson, Megan Gustafson, and Amani McGee Stafford. They also signed Carly Samuelson and Morgan Birch to training camp contracts. All right, we already mentioned the Bonner sign and trade, which makes this even that much more important. Lena Deladon re-upped in D.C.
Hey.
4-year deal. I'm still waiting to hear what happens with Emma Meeseman. It's expected that she resigns, but see what happens as it happens.
and
And
we need to
yeah,
get that done.
Yeah.
That ain't no. Let's see.
Yeah, I read a report that they just said that she's expected to miss 5 games this season, just off of the Olympics and the Belgium team and everything.
instead
So
of more games. One of the things rolling around on the NBA Twitter tonight, shout out to Rachel Gall and Howard Beckel. I can confirm reports that the Mercury are in talks to acquire Skylar Diggins-Smith. Whether that happens tonight or tomorrow. Mercury.
Take the Rosie off the ball, grinder. Man, let's just get real.
Like I like this for the WNBA because like it's such a lull from the end of this season, from October to April. Like it gets people talking in that downtime.
Yeah.
So
They deserve their own free agency buzz.
Yeah, man.
Like I'm not gonna lie, it's been fun. The other thing with more movement, and now you kind of get to really see like
Who's real, who's not.
who else is real. Like we're talking about the folks on court, the folks in the front offices. How these things start getting built and sustained now because now with a little bit more money, maxes take up more space now. Rosters can't be, you kind of can't hoard as much talent as you could before.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun. When you see how wild free agency is, this is just the first 2 days, and also this means like that 3rd, 4th day or maybe a week out from now, that 1 or 2 small that small signing that might be overlooked initially could be huge later. And we haven't even got to the draft because the college season's still going. So that's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait. And yeah, we got some WNBA news for y'all a little bit later. We're gonna get to that at some point in time. Cardell, go ahead. this discussion that we're gonna have tonight.
Okay.
Close this show.
Wanted to touch on the Gayle King and Kobe situation. You know, Gayle King had an interview with Lisa Leslie talking about the legacy of Kobe, and of course she brought up Colorado. One thing, a quote she said during that interview, she asked Lisa, when she told Lisa Leslie, she said, "It's been said that his legacy is complicated because of a sexual assault charge that was dismissed in 03 and 04. Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?" Lisa Leslie said, "It's not complicated for me at all. I just never have never seen him being, you know, evil towards a woman. You know, the kind of person that he would do, like the kind of person that would do something like violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know." And then Gayle responded, "Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it." And Lisa Leslie kept her professionalism. She said, "And that's possible. I just don't believe that." She also added that the media should be more respectful at this time. Obviously, following that interview, you know, King took a lot of heat and received a lot of death threats. You know, a lot of people got at her social media, you know, privately or whatnot. I just want to get y'all take on, especially you, Octavia, being a woman in this situation. You know, I have my view on it, but what do you think about the whole interview?
Like I feel the way she pursued it once Lisa gave her answer, that was classless. Like the lady answered the question, she gave her opinion. Like it seems like to me, Gayle was trying to push for the answer that she wanted, as opposed to the answer that was presented to her. This is not the time to dive into that. I mean, let the family grieve, let them go through the process. You know, it's a situation that happened, but you know, nobody knows the facts. Let's just speak on what was presented. Like, I'm not saying just totally negate it altogether, like, because it's a thing that happened. Mm-hmm. It's okay to discuss it, but discuss it respectfully. Especially you're talking to a person that was a friend of Kobe. You know, don't put her in that position. You know, as to where, you know, she answered the question. It's not like she disregarded it or was tiptoeing around it. She answered the question, gave from personal experience. Like, why is it such? It seems like it's such a goal for people to hang these supposed transgressions over guys for the entirety of their life. And then this is not even like something that was proven that he'd done. Like the situation was resolved. Like, so I wasn't feeling that at all. And I mean, I'm not with all the death threats and all that, but you know, when you do stupid stuff, you
karma. Yep.
Yeah, like, so that's my take on it. Like, you know, I don't know Gayle King from a can of paint, but her track record speaks for itself.
So the first thing that I heard about it was that the full interview shows a different light of whatever this clip was. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have not watched the full interview, but I have seen bits and pieces of the clip, and to me it is foul. I think, number one, that no matter who's asking the questions, regardless if it's Gayle, a white woman, a black man, a white man, that this question just shouldn't be asked at this point by anybody. I think us as black people are taking it harder than maybe other races would, because it looks like black on black crime. You know, let's keep it 100. As much as people go back and forth about black men don't stand up for black women, or black women don't have black men's back. It's always some type of divide when it comes to it, and I just think this adds fuel to the fire when it's unnecessary at this point. I definitely agree. I think it was classless to ask the question. She answered the question as professional as she could, and I just don't understand why this is even a topic. I don't understand why, when somebody has, you know, the situation happened in 2003, 17 years ago. From 2003 up until his untimely death, you had the opportunity to ask these questions. You had the opportunity to dive deeper into it, or whatever you wanted to do. Why is it now that the man is no longer here that we have to have these questions answered? And is this tarnishing his legacy? Like, his legacy had already been built before that and even after that. So why is this even a question at this point is really my question in the whole situation. I also agree when you say, like, I'm not with the death threats or anything like that, but when you're a public figure and you say things publicly, the only way people are going to be able to expose their outrage is through certain channels like that. Now, I don't agree with certain things, but we all know that there are trolls out there and there are people that's going to say what they want to say. And to me personally, I can't speak exactly on her, on Gail's, like, education as far as being a journalist. I never saw Gail as an actual journalist. That's just my opinion. I feel like she just kind of got into this role and it's kind of like trying to navigate. I mean, somebody tell me, I like I said, I don't know personally. This is just my opinion as far as the situation. I don't know what school she went to. I don't know what graduate degree she got. But to me, that's when it goes back, because I just don't understand it. You know,
Oprah put on. That's what you're saying.
Basically, you know,
OFU, Oprah Spring University.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I mean, like, in one aspect of it, like, I'm like, can I really fault her? Because to me, she's not really a real journalist. You know, like, she doesn't know the real responsibility of a journalist, which is the same people which is also like the people who were breaking the story that all 4 of his kids were on there. All those things, like, people don't understand, like, what journalism is actually all about. People just think that they can get in front of a camera and just talk, and they're journalists. And to me,
a lot of journalists were standing up for her and said she had a right to ask, quote unquote, calling themselves journalists, said she had a right to ask that question.
This is my thing. People, just because one person says it's right, don't mean it's right. You know, like, and at the same time, like I said again, there are different levels when it comes to actual journalists. You know, and I just think that it was classless. And at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for yourself and what you put yourself into. She chose to do it, so she's unfortunately getting these reactions, but she can't be mad. This is how it was portrayed to people, and people are entitled to have their own reactions to a situation like this. And it's unfortunate on both sides, you know, that Kobe's family has to already deal with his untimely death and his daughter's untimely death, and now on top of it, their lives are being scrutinized all over again like it was in 2003. And like you also said, like, nobody is ever going to know what really happened besides him and her. That's it. No matter whatever you can try to figure out and who said what and who heard what, you're never going to know the entire truth. So I just feel like let him rest in peace. Like, that's the part that bothers me the most. It's like, I don't understand why this is such a focal point of his life. Like you said, like, one transgression that happened when, let's keep it a buck, that this was something that those type of women kind of did at a certain point in time by accusing people of things that they might not have done. So I just feel like at this point, like, it should be over and done with. Like, I don't even know why we're still bringing this up.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say this slowly because, you know, it's 2020 and people still don't, you know, they pop off at the first thing anybody says. Like, we've seen, like, through all the horrible things we've seen, like, you know, in our lifetimes or whatever that have been covered by the news or whatever, people that have done, I mean, committed outlandish, egregious acts. Some of those people, like, the bigger issue, I guess, for me is the media as a whole. Like, we can go into, there's a certain way that some people get looked at regardless of their actions, and how other people get looked at regardless of their actions. Mm-hmm. Where they can go find a couple things that you did, and this is not to play a game of tit for tat, like, oh, well, those 2 things are less bad than these 3 things, but we've seen, and I'm not, like, again, slowly, we've seen serial killers and bombers covered by the media, where we've had those people have almost waxed poetically about them at times in a way that they describe them, right? And how could you find it to do that, right? But then jump to literally the opposite end of the spectrum for other people that don't look like that, where it's like, oh, this supersedes or this overrides everything. This is all that matters. And this is the thing, like, if from a journalist standpoint, you're gonna tell a story, right? You can't tell Kobe's story without whatever happened to Colorado. Again, like you guys said, only person to know what happens, him or God. You can't talk about him as a whole without that part. Like that would make the story incomplete. That said, you can't take that and throw it over top of everything else. If you're going to tell the story, tell the story. The story prior to that point, and the story after said point. And that's like my biggest thing is like we even saw that with like the Michael Vick 30 for 30, and obviously Vick is still alive, right? 30 for 30 came out last week. Man, the stuff that was coming out of people's mouths for something that was done. And again, going back to there's other people that have done so many more foul things. And that man looks like can't be forgiven at all. You know what I'm saying? His villain, like that hangs over everything. There's an issue with how media deals with this. And it needs to be, people need to be held accountable with it. If you're gonna have this, if you're gonna have that type of energy for a certain group of people, have it for all people. Don't be like depending on someone's stature or status, whatever it may be, or race, ethnicity, what have you. You're like, well, we could sweep that under the rug and we're not gonna highlight it. Let's just talk about the good. Nah, if you're gonna do it, you do it. And you talk about the good, bad, indifferent, whatever, what have you. But it's not right. Again, and this is the part of it, like you said, from a human being standpoint, like all those discussions could be had. Dude been around, it's been 17 years. I could have got at that dude at any given time to talk to him. Any given time. And again, it's not like it's something that he ducked. Right? This is not something where it was like, I don't ever want to talk about it. You know, like, if we're going to talk, if we're going to have an interview, just not that. That subject matter is off limits. Nah, you could have talked to him any of the many times that you've seen him. Won an Oscar. You ain't bring it up.
Yeah.
Just talk about the Oscar. Other things he's accomplished, production companies, what have you, the books that have been written, they aren't brought up. Soon as untimely death happens, that's all I saw on social media. Like, there's an issue with that. There's a whole issue with that. And people got to do better. Again, and I'm going to say it one more time very slowly. This does not mean that you cannot bring it up. But if you're going to bring it up, you bring up in its totality. You don't get to pick and choose certain things that define someone as a whole when we've seen other people that have literally been defined by their actions. And you paint it under, you sweep it under a rug somewhere. And, well, Johnny was a good little boy. Nah, dog, I don't want to hear about that. Look what he did. There's like 70 instances of what he did. There's an issue there. Go ahead, Carl.
Villainizing black men is good business.
Yeah.
So we might as well just be real about it. The reason why a lot of people got at Gail is because you a sister. You look like a sister. And, you should know better. Like you said, there was a lot more accomplishments to speak of. This is not the time. Like, his wife is dealing. I hear people who trying to justify it saying, well, it's a journalism, got like a code to dig deep and all this stuff. Well, no, actually, as a journalist, you're supposed to look at all the facts, not just certain parts of the book. Bring up all the chapters. But what about the humanity code? You know what I'm saying? Like, that, he died a horrific death, and not just them. You putting a spotlight on him. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just his daughter. There were other people on the helicopter whose family had to deal with that, and they're trying to mourn. They're trying to get over it. It's a burden. Like, it's kind of like with journalism, it's becoming so immoral across the board. I even heard, this was Rachel Nichols talking to Draymond about Kobe saying, should LeBron win MVP by having the burden of carrying the legacy with Kobe's death? I'm like, how is it a burden on him? It's a burden on his family. It's a burden on the daughters. It's a burden on his wife, who she would never have her husband again, the person she loved. It's a burden on Jelly Bean and them. Like, my son died, man.
That's about as bad as the question when they.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like, y'all this desperate,
yeah,
and no one's holding them accountable because the people up top, they just sitting back collecting checks. They just counting dollars.
Clickbait.
That's my point.
And that goes, not to cut you off, but that goes to the people consuming it too.
But we know people are out here miserable. We know a majority of society are gullible. So whatever you put out there, they're gonna roll with. I'm just serious,
right.
And especially the more negative, the better, because there's a lot of miserable people out here. And what do they all have in common? Bad choices and not being accountable, manning up and woman up to deal with those choices. Gail knew exactly what she was trying to do. She was trying to paint Lisa Leslie in the corner, and what makes it so funny, Lisa Leslie's a Hall of Famer. She's a vet. You're not gonna paint her in the corner. She's been getting interviews since she was in high school. You're not gonna paint her in the corner. And I felt like she did that on purpose, whereas if Lisa Leslie didn't bite, she would have bit emotionally, and then she like, see, it's just an emotional friend standing up for Kobe, and she kept her cool. She knew the game, and then she finished her professionally. And you saw Gail when she checked her professionally, Gail ain't had no comeback. And then she was just like, okay, well, you know, moving on. You had plenty of years to address this. Matter of fact, no one really is talking about this. Kobe dropped a documentary called The Muse, and he talked about it. He went in great detail what it cost him behind privately. He said his wife stepped to him and said, I hate your guts. The only thing that's keeping me here is the girls. I don't want them growing up in a broken home. They lost a child because of it, because she was stressed. She was embarrassed by it. And my man broke down the tears on it, Kobe. He broke down the tears and said, that was my fault. Even though stillbirth is a common thing, he was like, the reality is the baby ain't make it because of the stress I put on my wife. So as much as I was doing on the court, being the best player I could be, I failed miserably as a husband. He admitted that. He did this documentary when he retired. There was no media, no Good Morning America jumping on this, talking about how Kobe, you know, bringing up Colorado or nothing like that. So, yes. But as soon as he died, you want to bring that up. That's just tasteless, man. It was so... It was so disrespectful, man. Like I said, death threats is serious because once somebody gone, they gone. Yep. That's final. But her feeling the sting and stuff like that, I'm all with that. She need to feel that. And Oprah need to feel that too. I don't know, no crocodile tears, no. Because you have a history attacking black men. From Michael Jackson to Russell Simmons or whatnot. You trying to be judge, jury, and execution. And that ain't your role. And what hurts more, you're the sister. You're in a pivotal role where as a sister, you should be more so not standing up for foul dudes, but getting the facts. So putting it out there, because why didn't you bring up the facts about the chick that Kobe was with? About how they found certain evidence, DNA in her, you know what I'm saying, after all that.
But what did you say a little while ago?
It's big business to villainize black men.
Nobody wants to hear that. And like I said, if you're going to tell the story, all I ask is tell the entire story.
But they don't want to do that.
Like, be a journalist that you know, folks say they are, have some integrity. If you're going to bring it up, like, I'm not, like, again, no one here is saying that nobody should have, like, anybody's wrong for mentioning it. Like, look, that's fine. These are things that happen. Problem is when you take that, and it's like the headline of everything when somebody passed. And as you said, it was already bad enough that he wasn't alone on a helicopter. And all you saw was his name, his name, his name.
And also, you have to factor this in.
Excuse me.
It insults the intelligence of all the women he interacted with, that he worked with, like in the WNBA, the business side of things, working with little girls, the parents and stuff like that. It's disrespectful to them to really for people to. It's like they can't judge character. If he was that foul of a dude, why would they trust to come around him? Especially like WNBA players and stuff. Like, nah, you a foul dude. They don't believe that. They believe. Look, he was wrong for adultery. At the end of the day, that's between him, God, and his wife. Everybody else need to mind their business. That's my thing. And I had a conversation with a reporter out in New York. She hit me off wax because she didn't want to get into it, and she broke down the details of, like, and this is a woman, right, Puerto Rican woman. She broke down the details of the case, and I was just like, at first I thought she was trying to like take the other side,
right.
But she explained it, so she's like, no, the facts are out there. It's open knowledge. I don't understand why people can't do it. And I was just like, look, lady, we know that, but if me as a black man, any other brothers try to get out there, all they're gonna say is we just fans, just tripping. They're not gonna take it seriously. It would have to be a woman that really put all those facts out there. She said, I agree, but no woman will be brave enough to put their career on the line for this, to put the truth out. And I'm like, that's the problem. That's sad. That's sad. And she broke it down like the facts are out there. But no one wants to hear the facts. That's not as sexy of a story, and that won't get clicks and views. This should have been that. It's the reason why the case got dismissed. She was all over the place, man. The evidence showed that. So how can they convict her? You know what I'm saying? It's evidence out there. She went and got with a Caucasian male right after Kobe. Why don't y'all bring that up instead of trying to make her a victim?
Because this is
where I'm from. You get a label. You get a certain label when you move like that. But I'm trying to keep it PG-13 on the show, but you know you get a label when you move like that.
But again, this goes to what's been happening for years, like, and this is why, again, going back to it, the people that cover players matter so much. Oh, so much. Like, and again, just from a human being standpoint, y'all gotta stop it, man. Like, it's been ridiculous. Like, literally ridiculous. Everything, like, the question of Draymond was ridiculous. The first, what's it called? The first Lakers home game was against Dame and them. Dame beats them. He's supposed to feel bad for beating them. Like, how?
Like they weren't Kobe fans. Like they didn't have a relationship with Kobe.
And that's the part, like...
There's too many fans in the media. We're supposed to be objective.
Yeah, I feel like they can't separate the tragedy from the sport. You know, like...
No, all the lines are blurred right now.
Yeah, that's
for
what
a
I
lot
mean,
of
like,
folks.
Completely.
not being able to, like, oh, so you're supposed to feel bad because you won. Like, so me winning means I don't feel bad that he died.
For a person who is pretty much built off his competitive desire.
That's my point. So that's why I said, like, I feel like sometimes they can't differentiate between the two. They're, like you said, all the lines are blurred together, and that's what leaves out the humanity part of it. They're not thinking about that. They're looking at the totality as far as blurring everything together to make it seem like one situation where you can be a fan of him. It's just, I can't even.
They're taking something that's so simple from a human being standpoint where, you know, like humans are complex. It's very simple though. And they're taking it and turning it to some twisted thing, and it's just uncalled for and just not needed, man. But like everyone here has said, you know, people putting death threats on Miss King's life, that's ridiculous. You gotta chill. That's nothing to play with. But at the same time, like, folks have to get back to a place of being accountable for what comes out your mouth, what you write, what you say, what you share, etc. on whatever platform it is that you're pushing your content across. Like, you have to be accountable.
Definitely.
That's
Like-
this
like-
whole.
That's why people attacked her and Oprah. You know, over again in the past, like even the Michael Jackson thing, you put that documentary out, then it was found out all those dudes were lying. Then, all right, we just gonna cancel it, and she just went on about her business.
Like, and that's
not right.
We're watching damage be done, and then, you know, next on to the next, and like that's a huge issue, man. Stuff got to get back to there being some type of integrity here, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight, and again, thank you very much to the Eleanor Roosevelt boys varsity team that came in this evening. Wish them the best for the rest of the year. Hopefully they do get to go back-to-back states. Next week we'll have more for you guys. As always, get over to finestmag.com, mymonosports.com. This has been the Focus TV.